G'day. G'day. How are we all? It is Sunday night, about 20 past 10. And the local racer boys are going up and down the streets, honking their horns and waving at each other. Reclaiming our burrow from a puppy who is determined to chomp on it. How are we all? Welcome. Foncha. Hello. Bearded. I can't pronounce this Gallagher, but I'm learning slowly. Ta anmatra agam. Anmatra and Broadroyd. I have a dog, and the dog is in trouble. So, we'll have a jump online to read chapter 6, Great Expectations, which of course I am simultaneously recording on my phone via speaker, so that it will be uploaded as a podcast to Spotify and on this YouTube channel later on. My puppy dog is being a menace. He's chasing a piece of paper. She's only about 5 months old, nearly 6 months old. She's a little live wire. Running around the place at the moment. She's gorgeous. Her name is Daisy. Where are we? I should find my book, Great Expectations. So far, in Great Expectations, hi, my puppy. Hi, my puppy. So far, in Great Expectations, it has been established that Pip is an orphan boy who lives with his sister and her husband. No. No. Naughty girl. No. Absolutely not. You have to get down. She's down. Pip is an orphan who lives with his sister and her husband, Mr. and Mrs. Joe Gargery, the blacksmith, and his wife. She's quite hideous at home, but likes to keep up appearances by pretending to be a good fellow to all her friends. Pip has nicked some of her Christmas dinner to supply to an escaped convict who has been recaptured, but didn't dog Pip in. Stayed stum about it. And Pip and his sister's husband Joe went with the soldiers to witness the reloading of the poor wretch that was the escaped convict back onto the prison hulk moored in the estuary of the Thames near the marshes where they live. Shall we continue? I think we should. I have, in case you've noticed, put on some lo-fi beats in order to hopefully make better audio. So I'll try and speak over the top of that. I thought it might muffle the race boys outside and various creaks of the house and that sort of thing. As you can see, I'm not recording in a studio. I'm recording in a front room an aged MacBook that has fuzz with street noise and a recalcitrant puppy, which you are very, very welcome in joining my stream. And I would like to thank all of my subscribers who have recently signed up. I do have a Patreon. Patreon is in my About my Community section of the channel. So that would help me to make even more videos. And do feel free to drop a comment, say g'day. I appreciate you all. Minor 000, Mr. Sanfilippo, Mr. Rumble, Clay. You made the point of commenting, so I knew that you'd listen to what I was saying as well as what I was reading. Thank you so very much. You're lovely. I should just try and speak above the terrier. Well, who knows what she is? You saw her. Her name is Daisy. She's meant to be Jack Russell, but I don't know if she is in Canada. But she's adorable, whatever she is. Come, come, come. Come here. Come here. Up. Settle down. Settle down. Try and calm her a little bit before I attempt to read better. Shall I? Shall I take calm down a little bit? Up. Gentle, 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 gentle. That bag. That bag. My other dogs are Great Danes, which are considerably more passive than this little live wire. She was a menace. A menace, but she's adorable. How could you stay mad with that boom? No, no. We don't gnaw on a kitty. Oh, up. Don't feel down. Up, up, up. Up, up, up. No, down. Down there you have to stay. You won't be naughty. Kids, what can you do? When I was 27, I was in a counselling appointment, and I was said to the counsellor that I felt I didn't fit in my local community because when I went to the football games on the Sunday, I didn't fit in with everyone who wear designer jeans and like fashion from the local boutique and that sort of thing because I had lipedema, so I was big, so I could like barely fit into anything, usually skirts, and most people wore jeans and casual stuff on the weekend, but I was stuck with dresses and things that fit. And I said to the council, all they talk about, the women that can wear all the nice fashion, they talk about their buying more fashion for their kids out of like Oshkosh catalogues and that sort of thing. And she said, wait until you're 50, all they talk about is their dogs. And I was like, oh my God, that sounds like hell. And now I'm in my 50s and I have what could be argued as far too many dogs. Not all of them as well behaved as they should be. Sit down. Sit. Ah. Ah. You're going to sit very still. Sit very still if you want to be allowed in anymore. Good girl. Good girl. Oh, tired puppy. You are tired puppy. Right. Put you down and begin. Okay, that's your book. Chapter 6 of Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Going to excuse the high-speed terrier. decided to so I had a couple of zoomies at 10 after that. This isn't on, Daisy. Knock it off. Or I should put it away. Chapter 6. My state of mind regarding the pilfering from which I had been so unexpectedly exonerated did not impel me to frank disclosure, but I hope it had some dregs of good at the bottom of it. I do not recall that I felt any tenderness of conscience in reference to Mrs. Joe when the fear of being found out was lifted off me. But I loved Joe, perhaps for no better reason in those early days than because the dear fellow let me love him, and as to him, my inner self was not so easily composed. It was much upon my mind, particularly when I first saw him looking about for his file, that I ought to tell Joe the whole truth. Yet I did not, and for the reason that I mistrusted that if I did, he would think me worse than I was. The fear of losing Joe's confidence, and of thenceforth sitting in the chimney corner at night staring drearily at my forever lost companion and friend, tied up my tongue. Oh, goodness. No, there's no one outside. Come. Woof, indeed. Woof, indeed. No, settle down, or you have to go away. What's the name of the villain in Old Twist with the Bull Terrier? Bill Sykes. You know what happened to the Bull Terrier? Hanged his little self. Spoiler alert. So be still, Daisy. Okay. I ought to tell Joe the whole truth. Yet I did not, and for the reasons I mistrusted that if I did, he would think me worse than I was. The fear of losing Joe's confidence, and of thenceforth sitting in the chimney corner at night staring drearily at my forever lost companion and friend, tied up my tongue. I morbidly represented to myself that if Joe knew it, I never afterwards could see him at the fireside feeling his fair whisker without thinking that he was meditating on it. That if Joe knew it, I never afterwards could see him glance, however casually, at yesterday's meat or pudding when it came on today's table, without thinking that he was debating whether I had been in the pantry. That if Joe knew it, and that any subsequent period of our joint domestic life remarked that his beer was flat or thick, the conviction that he suspected tar in it would bring a rush of blood to my face. In a word, I was too cowardly to do what I knew to be right, as I had been too cowardly to avoid doing what I knew to be wrong. I had had no intercourse with the world at that time, and I imitated none of its many inhabitants who act in this manner. Quite an untaught genius, I made the discovery of the line of action for myself. As I was sleeping, before we were far away from the prison ship, Joe took me on his back again and carried me home. He must have had a tiresome journey of it, for Mr. Wopsle, being knocked up, was in such a very bad temper that if the church had been thrown open, he would probably have excommunicated the whole expedition, beginning with Joe and myself. In his lay capacity, he persisted in sitting down in the damp to such an insane extent that when his coat was taken off to be dried at the kitchen fire, the circumstantial evidence on his trousers would have hanged him if it had been a capital offence. By that time, I was staggering on the kitchen floor. She jumped. She's fine. Oh, she's back. By that time, I was staggering on the kitchen floor like a little drunkard, through having been newly set upon my feet, and through having been fast asleep, and through waking in the heat and lights and noise of tongues. As I came to myself, with the aid of a heavy thump between the shoulders and the restorative exclamation, "Yeah, was there ever such a boy as this?" from my sister, I found Joe telling them about the convict's confession, and all the visitors suggesting different ways by which he had got into the pantry. Mr. Pumblechook made out, after carefully surveying the premises, that he first got upon the roof of the forge, and had then got upon the roof of the house, and had then let himself into the kitchen chimney by a rope made of his bedding cut into strips. Daisy, you are positively dependent. Shush. Shush, I say. It's a great day to behave like this, I had then got upon the roof of the house, and had then let himself down in the kitchen chimney by a rope made of his bedding cut into strips. And as Mr. Pumblechook was very positive and drove his own chaise cart over everybody, it was agreed that it must be so. Mr. Wopsle, indeed, wildly cried out, "No," with the feeble malice of a tired man. But as he had no theory, and no coat on, he was unanimously set at naught, not to mention his smoking hard behind, as he stood with his back to the kitchen fire to draw the damp out, which was not calculated to inspire confidence. This was all I heard that night before my sister clutched me as a slumberous offence to the company's eyesight, and assisted me up to bed with such a strong hand that I seemed to have 50 boots on, and to be dangling them all against the edges of the stairs. My state of mind, as I have described it, began before I was up in the morning, and lasted long after the subject had died out, and had ceased to be mentioned, saving on exceptional occasions. There you go. That was a brief chapter, but chapter it was. That was chapter 6. Actually, yeah. Given that I had a bit of a creative before. So, thank you very much for tuning in to Watch My Stream. So, as I read Great Expectations, I work through it. I shall return. I'll be off for the night. I'm going to get about the fabulous island of Ireland and visit Dublin and Cork. And then I shall return in a few nights and I will read chapter 7 of Great Expectations. But keep watching the channel so you can see me in various scenic locations around Ireland. I won't have Daisy. You'll have to remain here. Poor Daisy. Alright. And Mum and Dad, please like, subscribe, show me around, and I'll see you with nothing else.